You think we would get copyrighted if we got, like, the audio of Josh Peck just yelling Oprah?
Probably? I don't know.
Because sometimes I honestly don't understand copyright rules. Like,
Me either.
You can use, like, a certain amount, but at the same time you fucking can't.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like, I think, like, less than, like, 15 seconds. It's not... I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're doing a Halloween episode. This is the spookiest stupid boys you'll ever know.
What is up, spooky campers?
So, yeah, this episode's a little, different than our normal shit that we do around here. We're just telling spooky stories.
We're gathering around the campfire.
And we're going to sing ourselves a song, and it's going to scare your pants right off of your dick. And, yes, at least I don't think I'm the only one out here running around with a separate pair of pants on my penis. I could be. I don't know.
Dress your little man up. It gives him confidence.
Yeah, bro. Got him in a little tuxedo sometimes, keep him swaggy.
Give him a little cologne, too.
So, it's been a long fucking time since we sat in front of this microphone, man.
Correct.
Like, fucking A.
And this time we're not in a car.
Yeah, we're actually in, like, my apartment. I have a place to live that's not my dad's house, which was fucking terrible. It wasn't all that bad. But, like, for the sake of recording and for the sake of a joke, it was the worst thing that to ever happen to me in my entire life ever.
Yeah, I'm debating mentally on if I should move back in with my mom or not, and I have been for months. And
that's fair.
And it's a very big debate.
Understandable. I did that. That was
I love my mom.
Time.
But
yeah, my mom actually listens to this, so I'm not gonna say anything. My dad doesn't, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. Anyways. I'm definitely getting a text for what I just said. Anyway, I'm waiting for it. So I think I'll start off with the story I found this week, just because I already have it pulled up, and your phone's not in your hand, so I'm going to assume that I'm a little more ready than you are.
I guess so.
So, this is the name of this story, because it actually has one, found on this website. The travelchannel.com. This is the top 10 scary stories from Reddit, which I think is really funny that a website made a top 10 list based off of Reddit stories. Comedy to me. Also, I feel like based off the stories I read, there's definitely way scarier stories on Reddit. I just didn't care enough to actually search them out.
Yeah, r/ no sleep is kind of crazy.
Yeah, like, I've caught some of those videos in like TikTok form, and I'm like, oh shit, and then I'm like, oh wait, was this in no sleep? Okay, that's not real. All right, cool.
I'm gonna have to interrupt you right there. It's fucking annoying on TikTok when they post one part of the story and then not the next part of the story, because now I look like a fucking dumbass just sitting there looking at a story, and now I don't know the rest of it.
Right, and like, sometimes you get lucky and the algorithm will throw it back to you, but most of the time that doesn't happen. So this is the unrest stop. So I was driving across the country with my mom and my sister when I was 16, and my sister was 20. It was late, and we were all rested. We were all well rested and still alert. We were driving along an interstate and needed gas and a bathroom break, so we stopped at the only rest stop in 200 miles. There was a van full of teenagers on a road trip at the gas station, as well as a small gray car parked at the pump in front of us, with two young men standing still outside of it. When we got there, everything felt wrong. We'd been on the road for days and seen many rest stops at night, and had never been afraid until then. My mom and sister went inside, and I stayed in the car. I heard the teenagers say they were creeped out and couldn't get the pump to work, and they left in a hurry. I was watching the car in front of us, and the two men had not moved at all, not an inch. They weren't talking, they weren't on their phones, they were just standing there, still as stone.
They're in a DMT trip.
Absolutely cracked out of their fucking minds. They're trying to figure out how cars work.
We need Joe Rogan now.
So my sister and mom came running back to the car, and when they got in, the two men slowly turned to look at us while not moving or pivoting the rest of their bodies, and I swear to fucking shit, we all saw the same thing. They had eyes, as we all do. dark as pitch and empty. I swear to God, that's how it's written. Truly empty, not black, not reflecting any light at all, just a void. We sped out of there and didn't stop until we were in the next city. The worst thing about the entire experience, we couldn't find the place on any map. We knew exactly which spot on the interstate to look, and we couldn't find it on Google Maps or any paper map that we had. We even asked locals about the creepy gas station out on that stretch of road and got only confused looks. We traveled on that interstate since, and there's no rest stop.
What the fuck?
That is why I decided to use this story, because the first part is kind of dumb and a little funny. But then the ending hits, and you're like, oh!
They have some fucking Naruto eyes. God damn.
Yeah, that...
So, let me just talk about the fact that there wasn't a rest stop for 200 fucking miles.
And apparently there still wasn't. Like,
that's a long ass way. Like, I thought fucking like 30 miles was long when I'm on the thruway.
Yeah, which it's. I mean, you're also in the middle of fucking nowhere in the middle of the south of the U.S. So like, I guess that also kind of makes sense. Like, you can go long fucking stretches without. I think that's why most like people in the south usually have like gas cans in their car.
Yeah, probably.
Fucking, what I think the craziest part of that story is just the fact that like you couldn't find it,
right?
And like, I'm gonna give a little bit of not like a spoiler towards my story, but like a little bit of my personal story comes from a very similar, or has a very similar aspect to it near the end. So yeah, what story did you find for us today, my friend? Oh, fuck. Hold on. We never introduced ourselves. We gotta start fucking doing that. Because, like, every episode is somebody's first episode. That was a tip I heard from another podcast. Was every episode is somebody's first episode. So I'm Dakota. This is Dylan. We did have that confirmed by the scientists.
I am Quandale Dingle.
No, god damn it. We just went over this. It's Dylan.
Nope.
Anyways, Quandale, whatever the fuck, tell your story. Speak your piece.
Well, I hate that YouTube has ads because I had something funny to do, but it didn't work because of an ad.
See, this is why you gotta not be a broke bitch and pay for YouTube Red, man. Or YouTube Premium, they call it now, I guess. See, I pay for it, and I have used it for years. Everybody shits on it. Best service. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I need to get it. So, my story is about some creepy little crawlies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You got creepy crawlies, you got gremlins.
Yeah.
You got spookums in the night.
Spookums.
Why does that sound like a vaguely racist thing? Like, spookums.
Look at that, them there spookums over there.
Bro, okay. Side story. I don't know if I've told this before on this podcast. I may or may not have. So this is a short story of how I was accidentally racist as a 6-year-old.
Oh.
Or like, actually no, I was probably like 8. But still. And luckily it wasn't to a black person. My mom corrected me very quickly. She was a very like racially sensitive person, though we grew up in a very racist area. So I do appreciate that level of my upbringing. Mm-hmm. I went over to my friend's house, and I grew up out in like the country, and one of my friends had an apple farm, mm-hmm. and his grandparents had an apple farm, and I went over there to hang out with him once, and there was a bunch of black people that worked the farm, and I was like, "Hey, who are those guys?" And he was like, "My grandfather calls them spooks," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And, like, I'm fucking, like, 8 years old. I didn't know, I just fucking ran with it. I was like, alright, that's what they're called. That's what they're called, I guess. Your grandpa said it, so he's an authority figure. It's gotta be, And then, like, my mom comes and picks me up later. We're driving home, and I was like, oh, yeah, I saw a couple of spooks on the property, and, bro, we were in the car. She spun around so goddamn fast and fucking slapped me. She was like, the fuck did you just say? I was like, bro, I don't know. Apparently something bad. I guess. I was not under the impression.
So I actually kind of have somewhat of a similar story. I might have said this in the podcast already, but we've been gone for so long that who knows?
It's hard to know.
So I had a fascination with Tigger when I was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I see where this is going.
Yeah.
But continue.
I had a huge fascination with Tigger, and I had very bad speech impediments as a kid, and the way that I said Tigger wasn't the best sometimes.
Yeah?
And I...
Did that T kind of come out like an N sometimes?
Yeah. So, the unfortunate day came that I was in a stroller and a big black guy walked by in the mall with a Tigger shirt on.
Oh my god.
And the very unfortunate event happened that I said a racial slur as like a 3 or 4 year old. I don't even know. I might have been younger than that, but
there's no way your mom didn't have to answer for that.
Oh no, the guy looked directly at my dad because so if this is when my mom and my dad were together again, I was like 2. So yeah, I'm just a 2-year-old pushing the stroller. The big black guy looks at my dad. He's like, "What the fuck did he just say?" And my dad was like, "It's not what you think." He didn't know what to do.
Like, what do you do, bro? You're just
right.
Like, how do I explain that my kid's retarded? Like,
But at the same time, it didn't help that my dad was actually racist.
I'm sure, yeah.
So it was a mix of my speech impediment and like actual father racism.
Yeah. Fair. So anyways, the story you were going to tell before we got into conversations of being little racists, tiny KKK members.
About the little creepy crawlies.
Yeah. The spookums, that's what I called them that started this whole fucking conversation.
He awoke to the huge insect-like creatures looming over his bed and screamed his lungs out. They hastily left the room and he stayed up all night, shaking and wondering if it had been a dream. The next morning, there was a tap on the door. Gathering his courage, he opened it to see one of them gently place a plate filled with fried breakfast on the door. So death. So just imagine insects bringing you a plate of fried breakfast.
I don't know if I'd eat it for sure. I'd try it, and if it was good, I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, cool, whatever, keep doing that. You can stay here all you want, you weird sentient bug creatures. I don't give a fuck. Just keep making me breakfast. Joe's apartment up in this bitch.
Well, that's good that you said that because, bewildered, he accepted the gift. The creatures chittered excitedly. This happened every day for weeks. At first he was worried they were fattening him up, but I can't fucking read. But after a particularly greasy breakfast left him clutching his chest from heartburn, they were replaced with fresh fruit. As well as cooking, they poured hot steamy baths for him and even tucked him in when they went into bed. And it was bizarre. One night, he awoke to gunshots and screaming. He raced downstairs to find a decapitated burglar being devoured by the insects. He was sickened, but disposed of the remains as best as he could. He knew they had just been protecting him. One morning, the creatures wouldn't let him leave his room. He laid down, confused, but trusting because they ushered him back into bed. Whatever their motives, they weren't going to hurt him. Hours later, a burning pain spread throughout his body. It felt like his stomach was filled with razor wire. The insects chittered as he spasmed and moaned. It was only when he felt a terrible squirming beneath his skin that he realized the insects hadn't been protecting him. They've been protecting their young.
That is like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Like, I So, I'm wondering if it was just one insect that got in and laid eggs, or if it was like...
I don't think it was they laid eggs inside of them. I think they fed it to them in the breakfast.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, they're fucking making him eat the eggs of their chillins.
Chillins.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's really gross, actually.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine that. I mean, like, yeah, it sucks, but at least you got some good breakfast. Fresh fruit, fried shit.
But being eaten alive from the inside out and being conscious for it.
Yeah, but, like, you're dead afterwards.
Yeah, but you have to suffer through all that.
Yeah.
Being eaten from the inside out.
I want to die like Paul Walker.
Really fast, crashing into a fucking median.
I mean, crashing into really anywhere, but it's got to be hard enough that it's actually going to kill me and
Right.
total the car. But I do want to be going extremely fast.
Doing a dash. So my real life spoopy story.
Spooky stories.
So I had gone and was hanging out with a couple of my friends, and actually, I'd hung out with one of my friends. I went to hang out with one friend, and she had a bunch of other people with her. Yeah. So we went out. We actually had a really good time. I'd never met these people before. We were just hanging out, and so as the night's starting to wind down a bit, it's the middle of the summer. It's still, pretty bright out. It's like 8 o'clock. And we were like, yo, this one dude was like, yo, have you guys heard of this cemetery, Old Galen Cemetery, over in, I'm not going to say where it's at, in this small town. And we were all like, no. He's like, all right, so the story goes that if you go there at night, there's a lot of, actually, if you go there at all, there's a lot of really crazy things that can happen. So the backstory behind it is back in, like, because we're in New York, so, like, old place.
Yeah.
So back in, like, the 1800s or whatever, or maybe even, late 1700s, early 1800s, whatever, there was a guy that lived near that cemetery, like, next to it. And they suspected, like, the townsfolk had suspected him of being a Satanist or, performing witchcraft and shit like this. And obviously, because it's the 1800s and shit, they eventually formed a mob and went up to the guy's house to figure out, how are we going to kill this guy?
Do they have pitchforks and torches?
Probably. Yeah, is stereotypical. So we're going to set the scene that they do. So we got, like, Frankenstein... Hey, shut the fuck up. We got, like, Frankenstein-type mob coming towards his house, right? Yeah. And they raid his house. And turns out they were right. And so they killed his family in front of him and then hung him in the graveyard. They hung all of his family in the graveyard. And then they hung him there as well. And so then his spirit started terrorizing the town. And they had to have a Native American medicine man of some sort come and bless the cemetery, so his spirit was trapped in the cemetery, which just made him angrier. And he's been stuck there for, a couple hundred years now. And fucking, obviously, I'm one that I do actually believe in a lot of stuff, but, like, these stories seem kind of far-fetched. So I was like, alright, whatever, man, He was like, you guys want to go? And we were all like, fuck it. We've had just enough, we've been drinking a little bit. So we were like, fuck it. We've had just enough to, both be able to drive and, be okay with doing this. So fuck it. we drove out there. It was like a 20-minute drive. It's not far.
Yeah.
So we drove out, and so you have to park a good, like, I'd say a good quarter of a mile away from the actual cemetery, and you got to walk down this big ass field, and then the trail kind of like sharp, like left and almost to like the opposite direction that you were just coming from.
Yeah.
And then veers off to the right a little bit, and then that's the entrance to the cemetery. So we walk all the way up, get up to the entrance, and as we get closer, because it's New York in the middle of the summer at 10 o'clock at night, there's a lot of fucking bugs and noises and shit, right?
Yeah.
If you're near the woods, like anybody that has been in upstate New York in that time of year, you know. Or anywhere really, fuck. I mean,
yeah, true.
Bugs just be screaming for fuck. And so we walk up, and we're all standing in a circle outside of the entrance. Mm-hmm. Because there is a wooden entrance that has all these things carved into it. That so the guy that brought us there was like, all right, I've been here before. These are the rules. You have to go in. You have to go in through this wooden entrance. You have to. And if you don't come back out through that entrance, like if you go out the sides of it, because that's really all there was that, and then there's like a gap and then a bit of fencing around the sides. If you go through those gaps on either side, you can bring something out with you. So like he's warning of all this shit. And I start to notice there's no sound anymore. It's just us talking out in front of this place. It is dead silent. We're in the middle of the woods.
That's really creepy.
And I swear to God, this is all 100% real. So, I almost... quick pause on this story. I almost feel bad telling this story because I'm eventually going to be starting another podcast with my partner, and this story is definitely going to be a part of it. So, like, this story is going to get heard twice for somebody. Anyways, so I'm a very empathic person, and as I noticed that there was no sound, I started to get real fucking worried, and I start feeling this really strong negative energy, and I was like, I don't think this is a good idea anymore. I don't know if I want to go in there. And they'd already started going in at this point.
Oh, Jesus.
And I didn't move. I was like frozen in place. I wanted to go in, but my body wouldn't let me move. And because I didn't want to be alone outside of the place either. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't blame you.
So my friend that I had gone to hang out with in the first place, she notices, because she was the last one in behind everybody else, and she stops with 1 foot over the barrier. That's a very important detail. And she turns around because she notices that I'm standing outside, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, because like my body literally would not let me move towards the entrance. And she was like, oh, okay, then we'll just go back to the truck. It's whatever. You guys go on, have fun. And she turns and steps back out. All of a sudden, she said she felt like her fucking ankle caught on fire. The same one that was over that barrier. And, like, to the point she was in so much pain, we started walking back to the truck. Now, this friend of mine, she's a real, real tough girl. She's a real tough bitch.
Yeah.
Like, fucking... we've squared up with each other before. She can throw a mean punch. She's a tough girl. And she was literally crying. The only time I've ever seen her cry, other than close people's death.
Yeah.
And I had to have her like one arm over my shoulder so she could have her foot off of the ground. She was in that much pain, and I start walking her back to her boyfriend's truck. Right? They all go into the cemetery. We get maybe halfway back. All of a sudden, that whole group that we were with is on the trail like 40, 50 feet behind us, screaming at the top of their fucking lungs. Her boyfriend is the head of the group, and he is like beelining it for me. And he fucking grabs me. And I had just started to get her to calm down.
Yeah.
He fucking grabs me. What the fuck did you do to her? I'm like, bro, what, huh? I was like, what are you talking about? I just been walking her back to the truck. I just got her to calm down.
Yeah.
Relax. And he was like, no, we all fucking heard her fucking screaming. Sounded like she was getting murdered. And she was like, no, I didn't yell at all. Like, what are you talking about? And they were all like, no, like, we heard you. You specifically screaming like bloody fucking murder.
What the fuck?
And we all just kind of like paused on that, took a moment to really absorb that information for what it was, walked back to the respective vehicles, got in them, and left. Now, I didn't know this next part of the story for about 3 years after it happened. So we pull out of there, go down the street that it's on, and we turn off of that street. Now, we drove back in complete silence. We weren't talking, we were having the radio on, nothing. We were absorbing what we had just lived through. Because we were mostly just trying to absorb the fact that it was real, that it all happened. Because it did. I swear to God. And my friend, I was telling this story, and I asked her if she had any details that like I might be missing, because I was telling it to people. And she goes, yeah, I didn't want to scare you guys that night. The entire time we were on the road, leaving that place, until we turned off of that street, I was hearing in my head, come back, come back, come back, the whole time.
Whoa.
And when we got back to her house, we all looked into this cemetery. We tried Googling it. We tried everything we could to fucking find any information about it. We couldn't find shit.
What the fuck?
Couldn't find it anywhere.
Bro.
Now if you go and look it up, you can find it. But you could not back when I tried to. Back then when that happened to us, we couldn't find a trace of it online.
That's crazy.
It's easily the most surreal experience I've ever had with like paranormal shit. It is part of the reason I do believe in paranormal shit at this point, because like I've had other experiences throughout my life, but most of them were when I was younger, so it's all things I've been told about more than things I actually remember experiencing. But yeah, that is the most like terrifying experience I've had with the paranormal. Like I don't even want to. Yeah, I don't even want to know what would have happened if we would have been there at like 2 a.m. or some shit. You know.
Imagine if you guys stayed.
Yeah, no. Like, it probably would have been, like, scary shit when we were in there. Like, and it probably would have been cool to experience that.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to risk shit. Because, like, dude did say that, like, there's been, like, aerial photos taken over where the graves, where the cemetery is, and you can see like the outline of this huge beast, and like that's where I was like, come on, man, that's a little silly, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
I don't know if I believe that one, but like I believe that if you go through, well, I believe if that one person goes through that main area that he said to walk into, and then somebody goes in through the crack or that other area, then I feel like you could bring something out, because I'm weird and I believe in bad luck.
Oh yeah, no. Like,
and like if you, I don't split poles.
Yeah.
Never, ever. So if you split the pole, dividing those two, you can probably definitely bring something out. But
well, okay. So the thing is, like, if you go through, you're going through a protection. You're coming back out through that same protection, so nothing can come out with you.
That makes sense.
Whereas if and this is actually a detail I had kind of forgotten and almost didn't say. After they heard her screaming, apparently, obviously boyfriend takes off running first, and he's one of the only ones that didn't have a flashlight. So he's just gunning it for where he knows the exit to be.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to keep up with him. He actually almost ran out, not through the exit. And at like the last minute, I guess one of the other dudes grabbed him and fucking like literally grabbed him and like spun and had to throw him through the fucking actual exit. Otherwise, he like there was no other way.
Jesus.
He caught him at the very last fucking second. Like I imagine that is some movie shit. Like just
right. Yeet. Fuck. Well, I'm glad that your story was paranormal because my story is also paranormal.
Good.
So,
the big boy stretching.
There's a...
Got distracted by cats. Cat stretching.
Cat scratch. So there's a, there's an old abandoned insane asylum. Well, sorry, psychiatric hospital.
I want to check that out so bad. It's the one I'm thinking of, right? The one in the city?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been, but I want to go
beautiful.
So bad.
Well, it's full of asbestos. But
nice.
So I would recommend if you go to wear like a
respirator mask thingy. Yeah.
But so I've gone there a few times. I started going there in high school when it was in way better shape, and it was honestly really nice. Like, yeah, it was run down because it's been abandoned since the fucking 70s, and I'm pretty sure it was the 70s.
Yeah.
And like, you go in, you gotta obviously sneak in. There's been so many different ways that you can get in because each way keeps getting closed up. And they had to weld all of the metal like for the grates to go underneath. But the creepiest part is that even if you did go underneath, you're going straight to the morgue. So, I mean, like, I've been in the morgue and that's fucking creepy as hell.
I'm sure.
That actually is part of this story. But, so, the way we got in was somewhere through the back, and it was just an open window, and somebody must have broken it, and it wasn't us, but shit, I mean, we broke like the tiniest pieces off so we didn't get cut, but so we put a sweatshirt over the glass, and then we ended up just putting our arm up to try to knock any of the remaining glass off. And so when we got in, it was a normal abandoned place, like shit knocked over, debris everywhere,
spray paint fucking all over the place.
Absolutely. I think I have something carved there. I don't know where, but I never brought spray paint. I should have. But so we get in. I'm with like 4 people. So we get in and we go down this hallway. We go up the flight of stairs because this floor doesn't seem very interesting at all. And then as soon as we get up like 1 or 2 flights of stairs, shit gets cold like that. And I went, nobody else really felt it. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm just like feeling things, maybe I'm just a little nervous.
Yeah.
And so we're walking down whatever floor we get to, and I just drew a blank for a second. So we get to the floor that got really cold. We keep walking down this hallway, and probably like 3-4 minutes after we get on this, all we hear is a door slam. And
shit.
I was like, okay. There's a chance that there's homeless people in here because they find ways to get in there.
And like, a roof is a roof.
Right. So I just kind of chalked it up to being a homeless person. And so we just keep walking to just ignore it.
Person, I'm assuming.
It was Dakota.
Yes.
So we just keep walking and exploring different rooms. There's a bunch of just newspapers and fucking beds and other shit. And I wish there was, like, not memorabilia, but, like, at least something that, like, tells you who is in the room. But,
like a cast list of everyone that's been committed.
Well, we found documents before, but those didn't really tell us anything about who was in the room. It did tell us a little bit about the finances, but that was also...
who gives a fuck?
Right, that was also 1970s finances, so I'm all set on that one.
The yearly rent was $12 and a chicken sandwich.
So, after we stop exploring this floor, we go up another floor, and we just go all the way up until we get to the roof, and I love the roof over there. But I think we get up to, I think it was like 8 to 10 floors above, because that place is fucking ridiculously huge.
Yeah. That's why I want to check it out so bad. I've never been in an abandoned building that big before. Like, I've been in tons of abandoned buildings, but like 2 floors max.
Yeah. But, so we get like 8 to 10 floors up, and all of a sudden it's just fucking... We don't know where the fuck it's coming from, though, because each time we think that we see where it's coming from, I mean, we know where it's coming from, like, we go to that room that we think it is, it seems like it's from a different place. And I was like, okay, that can't be a homeless person if we can't hear him, like, walking or running, because we're dead silent, obviously, because we're fucking terrified.
Yeah.
So, if we can't hear any, like, scuffing or, like, scurrying
around,
yeah,
or like anything.
Like, we would definitely hear the move. And we were like, okay, so we're just gonna keep going up to the roof, and we're just not gonna stop at any more of these floors. And then, well, we were gonna go back down after to try to go back to the morgue. Well, not back, trying to go to the morgue.
Yeah.
But, so we got to the roof, and roof is beautiful. You can see all of the city from there, and it really is. I tried to take a picture on one of my old phones, but it didn't do justice. I wish I had, like, my actual camera.
Yeah.
But that would have been beautiful.
My cat just headbutted my phone and it hit me in the shin.
Shin phone. So we're chilling up there, doing devious hood rat things.
Yes, sir.
Messing some shit up just because. And then one of my friends tries to tip this fucking big ass generator looking thing. He fully pushes it over, and the shit looks like it's about to fall, and it's connected into the building by like 4 giant fucking wires, so it's hanging like off the building, the whole metal contraption right there.
Oh god, you pushed it off the fucking building?
Yeah, it's off the building, but it's still connected to the building, so it's just, I mean, maybe they ended up moving it back, I don't know how, but
that seems incredibly dangerous to just leave it there. I doubt they just left it there, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. But we did all that stuff, and then we went down to the morgue because why wouldn't you?
Right.
Just to see if it was spooky. But as we get down to the morgue, there's like this initial holding area. I'm assuming that it's for like the newer deaths.
The deaths.
This is why we're called Dumb Double D's. I can't speak.
The deathsesses.
But there was multiple open, and they look very weird inside. I mean, it's just like a metal rectangle, but just like the little rollers on the bottom for them to move it is really weird.
The like freezer slab things that you see bodies in fucking like SVU and fucking
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's like a bigger area that I see that's like a lot more of those little entrances. And as we're all kind of like huddled together, making sure that nobody's gonna fucking leave the group like a dumbass, which I'm surprised none of us actually did, because all of us have the attention span of a goldfish.
Yeah.
But as we're all huddled together, we hear metal clink, and I was like, what the fuck? And everybody else actually notices this time, because I'm really the only one who has been noticing all this different shit.
What the fuck?
Like, when they heard the door slam, everybody kind of like slowed down and like got together a little bit, and they were like, this is weird. And when they heard the knocking, there was like, everybody was like, no, that's just the building, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay.
Whatever you say, my boy.
Right. But everybody hears the metal clanking this time, and everybody's like, okay, this one's actually really weird, because like we're in like the absolute basement of this place. Like, why would somebody be down here? Like, this is a morgue.
Right.
But so we hear the clink, and then we hear it from like different areas, but it's like spread out.
Yeah.
So it does kind of sound like somebody's doing it. So we like all move like it looks like we're in like fucking choreographed diamonds, because we had one person in front, two people on the sides, and one person in the back, and we were all just walking towards, but we didn't hear anything after that. Like, after we walked towards it, and then as we turned around to go back to where we were, because we were examining some shit, we kept hearing it, and I went, okay, we actually got to check this out this time. And as I only went with another person, like we split the group up stupidly, but I mean, nothing bad happened with that.
Scooby-Doo ass motherfucker.
But we go over to the fucking the area where we heard the clinking, and this fucking, like, there's like little doors that open for the little resting spots, if you want to call it that. That shit
chill
fucking
spots for the dead bodies.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, because it is cold as fuck. But we walk over, and this door fucking slams fast as fuck.
Yo.
And I went, we gotta fucking go! And I booked it. I was like, yep, I'm leaving. I know exactly how to get back to where we were. I had an emergency plan in my head, because I was like, alright, I need to know exactly where the fuck we are, and I need to know where the exit is.
I do not Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
So, we got outside, and luckily that night was over after that. But there was another time that I was there, and we didn't even make it inside that night. Like, everybody felt the energy. Like, we were in the back, like almost around where I entered the last time, and we heard like some sort of whispering.
Absolutely.
And I was like, my friend was like, do you hear that? And I was like, yeah. Like, is that somebody fucking with us, or is that like actually like in the building? And he's like, I have absolutely no idea. Like, I want to know. So we get closer to the building, and it just gets louder and louder and louder, and we have absolutely no idea where it's coming from. So as we get closer to the building, there's just this feeling that it feels like somebody's literally like squeezing the sides of my body, but the full side of my body, and it feels like they're pushing it in as hard as they can. And I was like, I don't feel good about this. And the friend I was walking with was like, no, me either. Like I feel like somebody's pressing on me. And I was like, I'm glad that you said that, because me fucking too. But we end up going back to the group, and fucking security, or like, I think it was the security of the nursing home next to it.
Yeah.
They're very anal about people being over there. I mean, so are the cops.
Yeah.
But
I've heard tell that recently they've actually kept cops like right near the area to always patrol it and shit, and like pretty much every way to get in is blocked off now, and all this. Yeah, it's
you got to be able to have like a fucking bat claw and fucking just zip line yourself up. But we went back to the group, and security came over and was like, "Oh, you guys can't be here. If you guys don't leave, we're gonna call the fucking cops."
No fucking worries, we were already on our way out. Bye.
Right. And I was like, yeah, no, you're right. We shouldn't be over here. And then he started escorting us one way, and my friend and I looked at each other, and then it was honestly like a movie. Like, we were walking in a line, like a horizontal line of 4. The two of us in the middle looked at each other, nodded our heads, and then we looked at the outer people, and then we nodded our heads at them, and we fucking booked it backwards. All of us at the same time. It was perfect. It should have been choreographed, honestly.
Love when
it was
shit like that happens.
Perfect plant and then run. And then the security guard was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call the cops." And
call him, motherfucker, we ain't gonna be here.
My biggest friend out of all of them was like, "Call him, I'll fucking sit on him." And I was like, yeah, okay, we gotta fucking go. Like, I'm not trying to actually get arrested right now.
Gotta do the dash.
So we get to the front of the area. We see a cop. It's not like somebody that they call.
Coming for you. Yeah.
But he stops us too, because he's pulling into the actual driveway of the place. And we were like, fuck, because he had his lights on and everything, just making sure nobody was in there, and obviously he fucking caught us. But we told him, we were like, yeah, no, we were just cutting through, like, blah, 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 and we were like, we were just walking, and he was like, why do you guys look suspicious? And I didn't talk, because I'm really bad at situations like that. But my friend got us out of the situation with some smooth talking.
See, I always fuck with cops, so like
yeah, that's also why I didn't speak, because I feel like I would have said some asshole shit, and he would have been like, "All right, you're coming with me."
Yep, all 4 of us. Let's go.
And so we walk back, and our car's parked across, like, I think it's across the street somewhere on one of the side roads, and we get over there, and as we get to the car, we look back and see the fucking security guard talking to the cop. So we get back to the car, and we make sure that we're not going too fast, but we're definitely speeding a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're like, yep, we're getting out of here.
Not like, no more shit happened today. No, sir.
That place is just kind of a trap for getting in trouble.
Yeah. I want to go check it out, though. Super bad.
Yeah, I want to go back.
But alright, yeah, I think that's where we're gonna wrap this episode up for now.
Yeah.
Alright, we were Dakota and Dylan.
Correct, Mundo.
That was Dylan.
I thought I was Dakota.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry to break it to you.
No, I'm still Quandale Dingle.
Okay, my bad.
Dingle.
Yeah, you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pod. Well,
I made a link tree, so if you go on if you go on our Facebook, it'll be on there, and it shows YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. It has a link to our Facebook page. It has a link to our Instagram page that I haven't posted anything on yet.
Yeah, the link to the Facebook page is kind of redundant if the link to the link tree is on the Facebook page.
Yeah, but I posted it on Instagram and other stuff too.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, you had said it was only on Facebook at first?
Yeah, because that's the only one I thought of. It all works out in the long run.
Alright, well, this has been our longest episode at almost exactly 50 minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, we're like 20 seconds away from exactly 50 minutes, so I'm kind of just trying to run it up.
Halloween special.
Halloween special, boy. We got to make it as long as possible. And we've been gone for so long, we got to give y'all a little bit of extra ear candy this Halloween season.
Oh, yeah. Everybody trick-or-treating. Make sure you
it's 50 minutes.